Good morning, good morning. Good morning, bright lights. Just wanted to come on this morning. Story time. Give me one moment. I need to actually go in these kids' room and get something. Okay, got about 15 minutes. This is going to be quick today. This is going to be quick story time. I'm usually on here for, longer periods of time. But I just wanted to talk to my bright lights today. Hi. So for anyone who does not know me, my name is CachiaCherise. I am a transparency lifestyle blogger and speaker. And what do? I express my feelings, things I've been through, my emotions. I dig deeper to remove the things that are hindering me from being the best me, in hopes that it will spark something in you to do the same. That's what I do. So let's start off with story time. So this is yesterday, guys. So you know, guys, that we just moved. This isn't the permanent place, but we will be in our permanent place, which we have built. Oh, well, we'll get into that later. But hey, Sheena. So we're here for a certain amount of time. And yesterday, my children went outside to play. Okay, so we had visited and all of that. Thank you. It says, I love Jesus. Yes, I found someone down here that does the earrings. So I've been buying from her with these type of things. But yeah, thank you. So my kids went out to play yesterday. They were riding their bikes, and we came through here a couple of times, and it just seemed like a quiet block. I hadn't seen no kids before. But yesterday when my kids went out, it seemed like all the kids came out. They were playing, and I was like, wow. So I decided to go outside just to see how they were doing, and they were playing, so I went back in. So when my husband got back home, hey, Randella, how are you? My husband got back home, someone rang the doorbell. I thought it was, and I'm just doing a story time, guys. I just thought it was maybe the kids or something. They were trying to come through the front door, even though the garage was open. So, I was like, is that the doorbell? My husband was like, yeah. He couldn't really go at the time, but I heard it again. I said, let me go see who that is. So I went out the garage, came around. Good morning. Came around to the front, and who was at the front door? A negative Nancy is what I call them. Because a negative Nancy, they're someone they're just negative. They just bring that energy. They're negative. They try to disrupt your peace. And, I was just like, okay, what's this about, right? So she proceeded to not introduce herself, for one. She proceeded to go in about my children coming and all the kids coming out, because my kids was out, and how the kids were riding their bikes. I guess not just my kids, but the kids was riding their bikes on the grass and had toys on the grass. Now there were toys on the grass, but they were not on her side of the grass, right? And she was standing in my grass because we pay rent here, right? So it's my grass. She was standing on my grass while the toys was in my grass. So I proceeded to partially listen, and then I proceeded to spiritually check, right? What does that mean when you spiritually check? That means that you stay within the spirit, and you proceed to disrupt that negative energy, right? Yeah, and it didn't make it better that, she was of another complexion. It didn't make it better, because as I was processing everything, I was processing as, okay, is she a negative Nancy or is she a Karen? And I don't like to really use the terms, but those are the terms that's out there. I didn't make it. So, yeah, I proceeded to let her know some things about what my kids did not do and what was not my kids' toys, which it wasn't. But my thing is, why are these kids are trying to be out here, trying to be great, trying to be kids, trying to have fun, and you're being negative. So I called my kids over and the other kids, and I proceeded to say, we should just have a community meeting, because I know you're just not talking to me. You must go talk to the other parents too, right? And she was kind of, taken aback. And then she proceeded, as I was talking to my kids, she proceeded to try to talk as well. Oh, it's grass marks. So I said, excuse you. Excuse you. I'm talking to my kids. Thank you. I was in a stern voice, and I talk, like as far as how I talk and how I express myself, I'm not a cusser. Thank goodness, because people will probably be crying. I am a checker spiritually. And I can shut you down with just looking at you or with my presence and my tone, right? So I proceeded to tell her that. She ended up going around back into her garage. Yes, that was the best thing for her to do. So I matched her energy, but I brought the tone up a little bit, and I didn't match the energy as far as negative. I matched it as far as, don't you play with me, right? That energy when you're like, that energy like, don't play with me. You don't even do it. It won't turn out right. But I matched the energy, and I matched the voice. So I had a certain voice I was doing as well. Now, I had to reflect, because my son, he's 14, right? He was like, Mom, you was doing too much, right? With your voice, and it was coming out kind of fakish. So I had to reflect. That got me to reflect. So that whole situation with her, she went into her garage. The whole thing was done. I started talking to people, the kids, and then I found out that it's just some negative people on the block. They're a little bit older, which does not make it right. These are kids now, people, so I found out that there's some negative people on the block. They just don't like the kids out and roaming around, but this is a busy block with a lot of kids on the block. So, and they deal with this, all the time with these with these neighbors, particular neighbors, and other neighbors as well that I have not even come in contact with. So I began to reflect on what my son said, like, Mom, you was doing too much. I was like, okay. But I know let me tell you what I reflected on. I reflected on the expectations that are put on us when we are born. I began to reflect on the expectations that we put on ourselves that are unrealistic, and the expectations that are put on us by society, right? So I began to reflect, because as I was coming up, I was told to, when I get around a certain group of people, to talk like this and act like that, right? I hope I'm not the only one out there. You talk like this, and you act like that, right? I was told to do that. And then when I was around the group of people that I was comfortable with, I went back to how I usually talk, right? That was called switching it up. But my thing is, as I reflected on that, okay, was I switching it up when I was talking to her, or was it something else? I came to the conclusion that when I was talking to her, I was actually in the spirit. I was actually saying some things that hopefully penetrated her brain to say what I'm doing is silly and what I'm complaining about is silly. Because there's bigger things in the world than what I'm complaining about. And it had a kind of tone to it as well. See, I'm one that loves to articulate my words. I'm one that likes to, since I don't use curse words I say things in a way that can penetrate, right? But I also just kind of reflected. I don't want to be a switch it up type of person. I want to be the same person through and through, right? I don't want to have to get in front of a certain group of people and act a certain way or talk a certain way. I want to do that throughout, right? I don't want to have to go to a 9-to-5 or my 9-to-5 currently and talk a certain way. I want to be who I am authentically, right? I want to do that throughout. I don't want to have my business and talk a certain way and then you meet me and what you see on this social media is not what you get, right? So that began a deep introspection of me and things that I need to be aware of. Now, when you're in the spirit, that's a whole nother thing because the spirit leads at that point, right? So things that come out your mouth, you may not even know that it's coming out your mouth because it's the spirit talking. But as far as just me outside of the spirit, I want to be the same authentic person through and through. So if I'm on here talking to you the way I'm talking to you and penetrating you to think and to do introspection on yourself, and I'm here as a bright light, when you meet me, you'll get the same thing. The worst thing is to see someone that you're following and you love what they're teaching and to meet them and it's not the same. That's so disappointing. And I've been there where I followed some people and I'm like, wow, they're magnificent in front of that camera. Cheating. They're magnificent. But when you meet them in person, it just doesn't match up. And you be like, was that just a fairy tale? Was that just a facade? Is that how you say it? Yeah. Was that just a put on? Was that just a mask? So I encourage you today to be your authentic self. If that is who you are, if you're a person that you just talk proper, you use correct English, you're not just doing it to put on the front, be you. If you're a person, sometimes some people just curse. Do I hold that against them? No, I'm not the judger. And they still love God, even though they curse. I'm not the judger of people, so why am I? I can go off what's in this word and say, okay, it says this. I live by the word. And I preface my life around the word. And if that helps someone else in their journey, hey. But be who you are. Be your authentic self, people. Because if you're not, that mask will slowly melt and dissipate. And what will you be left with? I don't know what you're going to be left with because it might be ugly. A lot of people wearing masks and they're ugly underneath. They're wearing masks and they're ugly underneath. So I encourage you to be your authentic self. Let's stop switching it up. Be who you are. Be your authentic self. Be who God has created you to be. And let me tell you one more thing, because I got to go on this meeting. Don't let nobody disrupt your peace. I put some scriptures above. Armor of righteousness and armor of peace. Don't let nobody go messing up your peace, because your peace is your peace is your peace. And people will try to disrupt that peace. And you have to be smart about that. Don't let people, when you're in a good mood, don't let people come with their negative energy or knocking down, trying to knock down what you trying to build, or what your thought process is, trying to knock it down, or what God has told you, and they trying to tell you what ain't gonna work, or how you gonna do that. But God done told you. Don't let people come disrupting your peace. Keep it peaceful. This is my armor, guys. You see how I have it labeled? Yes, I have all my armors labeled. Because this season, you got to have that armor on tight. Because you will get tried very much in this season. Just know that. See, my brand is under CachiaCherise Transparency Lifestyle, right? Because I'm living it. I'm not just talking it like many people do. They have a brand or a business and they talk it, but then you peek behind the curtains and they're living a whole total different life. But that's another episode. I wasn't trying to be on here long, but I'm going to wrap it up. My name is CachiaCherise. I am a transparency lifestyle blogger and speaker. And with all that was said today, people, bright lights shine bright. With all that was said today, dig deeper than you ever have before. I love you guys. Until next time, bye-bye.